So Pascal Siakam is still doing all the athletic things that made people excited about him when the Raptors drafted him 3 years ago. He's 6'9", his wingspan reaches all the way out to 7'3", and he also has a 36-inch vertical leap, and he plays his ass off. So that alone has made him a presence on the floor for Toronto. But this season, he is rounding out his game with some skills. His ball handling has improved. His playmaking is a real thing, as he's up to 2 assists a game, while not being the focal point of Toronto's offense. And his three-pointers are even looking like a bit of a source of scoring for him. So his all-around game is making strides. And I think the biggest difference for him is that dribble, so we're going to talk about that for a moment. It doesn't look pretty, but it is obvious that Siakam has made it a point to improve this area of his game, because now he is confident enough to attack switches. If there's a smaller guy on him, he'll just put his body into you. But even when there's a larger defender on him, he's comfortable enough with hitting you with some moves, whether it's a crossover. He's even busted out a couple like between the legs moves. I mean, this is not just a drive in a straight line kind of situation. Siakam is really going to a different level with just creating offense out of nothing. He is scoring about 4 baskets a game when he takes at least 2 dribbles, according to NBA.com. And he's also averaging about 5 drives a game as well. So if defenses are not going to respect him, Pascal's going to go off the dribble and make something happen. And when I say he'll make something happen, it's not always with him scoring, because now we have to look at his passing. The assist numbers might not jump out at you. He's putting up about 2.5 assists a game, but even that just allows him to be so much more valuable offensively, because he's not a one-dimensional dude, right? The defense loads up on him. He has the savvy to survey the floor and make the right play. And what's crazy is his turnovers are still looking pretty good, even with the increased opportunities. So now you have a guy in Siakam who the defense can never totally ignore, right? Because if you give him a lane to the rim, he's gonna do something, right? He's gonna take it himself, he's gonna make a play for himself, make a play for a teammate. I think if we can look towards the future a little bit, we could see more plays like these where he brings the ball up for himself off of a rebound. He's already doing it quite a bit this season. I think this has raised Siakam's ceiling quite a bit, because the fear with him was going to be like he's an athlete who doesn't totally have a lot of like real abilities, and not the case. Dude can go off the bounce and he can create, which makes this Raptors team that is already very good even a little more scary. And the thing we got to remember is he can still do all the athletic stuff, because he's still a pretty gifted dude physically. So cuts to the basket, running in transition, alley-oop finishes, offensive rebounds as well. He's averaging about 1.5 offensive boards, rolling to the basket. Siakam may not be the most natural offensive player, but he's just good enough at everything to where when he's out there, expect him to do something. And the last thing we got to touch on with his offense is his outside shooting. And if this comes around, then the NBA is screwed. So his percentages right now, not amazing. 31% from 3. He's pretty much just shooting them from the corner, and we can tell that there are times when he has a little bit of hesitance, and defenses clearly see this as well because they're daring him to beat them from out there. It's just a matter of if he can actually do it. But it's clear that he's made progress, right? And given how hard he works on the floor, I have to assume he's working that hard off of it. And given that he went from his rookie season where three-pointers were not even a question to now where he's taking and making at least a few of them, I think it's safe to believe he is going to turn himself into at least a respectable three-point shooter, which is, again, pretty scary for the rest of the NBA. We should at least still appreciate the guy's defense, because this was the thing he was good at the moment he showed up in the league. I remember his rookie season, even as he made the offense a bit awkward for the Raptors, he could definitely hold his own on the defensive side of the floor, and that's still the case. Could he end up being a Defensive Player of the Year candidate one day? I mean, maybe, maybe not. He's definitely a positive, and that's always a good thing. Pascal Siakam is killing it this year, putting up, 14 and 7, 2 assists, 1 steal, about half a block a game. The percentages are improved across the board, making plays for himself, not being just a stationary offensive player, bringing the ball up floor off a rebound, still doing all the athletic things. He could be in running for most improved player. Probably going to lose to Zach LaVine, but he's having a hell of a season nonetheless.